Welcome to March 11th. It's a Tuesday, 2025. Well, we're going to have some nice mild weather as we go through the next few days. Really, for a lot of the western United States and the Central Plains, very nice spring-like weather will be with us. Plenty of sun, mild, above average temperatures, and yeah, we'll have the wind. It'll be out there. But all in all, it's just the wind that kind of reminds you where you live. As we go through the next 3 days, very little going on, but we will see this West Coast storm system come on in to the West Coast, into the Great Basin, and areas west of the Divide as we get into Thursday and Friday. There's a really good chance from the Continental Divide to the West Coast for a lot of you to get rain and snow. As the system jumps over the Continental Divide, it will reform, but it's just going to move too fast to be an east of the divide front range upslope event. It's going to go up very quickly into the northern plains before it gets its act together. So you're going to see the mountains west of the divide to the west coast get wet. There'll be a strip along the front range and east of the areas that just get windy and colder with a few showers. In the northern plains, we'll have a bit of a marked snowstorm in some areas in the upper Midwest. There's a gap in the weather, then another storm system comes. And as we mentioned yesterday, it's eerily similar to what happened just a week ago. We had one storm go into the plain states. Then we had a second system come behind it, and it was the second system that was more productive for some in terms of precipitation. And that's what we see with the Tuesday, Wednesday storm system. It's a bit of a different animal. So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, that will be a better precipitation producer for folks east of the Continental Divide. We'll just have to wait and see, but there's potential there, like there was potential a week ago in the Lander area for the snow that you see there with the horses. Still a lot of snow on the ground, still, but melting away here over the next couple of days. Lots of high clouds, kind of fair weather, high cirrus clouds across the region. A lot of folks noticed those yesterday streaking across the Intermountain West, as well as some lenticular clouds. We're still into that lenticular season here for a little bit longer. So some beautiful cloudscapes, and we'll see more of those today and as we go into tomorrow before we start to see thickening clouds in many areas on Thursday. This is why. Two storm systems to identify here. Here's that cutoff low that is going to bring some rain to Southern California, then move into Arizona and scoot its way very quickly this way here over the next day or two. It's the Gulf of Alaska low up here. You can see a little swirl if you look real carefully. The counterclockwise rotation have a comma-shaped cloud here pattern. And then here's the cold, unstable air that's over the water. So this is all the recipe you need to get a stronger low pressure system. So as it comes south and east into the region, and you can see it's drawing moisture out ahead of it, it's going to come together to produce a lot of weather in the far west. We have winter storm warnings for a lot of the mountains of central and northern California. We have flood watches in effect for Southern California. Southern California, with these two storms, going to get some good amount of rain. Snow in the rim country of Arizona, and we've got more in the Cascades, and right here in the middle of the Great Basin, north of Las Vegas, we have winter weather advisories in effect, as there's going to be snow getting down to some very low elevations here in the Great Basin as that West Coast storm system heads our way. We have red flag warnings for parts of New Mexico into West Texas there for more wind. So here we are. We've got the low up here. We've got the low down here. We've got the broad trough, that cold, moist air over the water right now waiting to come together to form a storm. But generally a west to east, very mild Pacific-dominated flow across really all of the lower 48. So really today there's not a lot going on across the country. But tonight and into tomorrow and into Thursday, that will change. There you are by around the noon hour on Thursday. That storm moves into central California. And this is just a really good way to make it rain a lot along the West Coast, bring heavy snow to the Sierras. So this is a good water maker for the West Coast. As it heads east, it dives into the southern Great Basin. Before that, though, you can see by Thursday, 6 p.m., we start to see some showers reach the western mountains of Montana and Wyoming and Colorado, getting into Arizona there, some showers up into southern Canada, but you can see there's very little going on here. So big difference. East of the divide dry, west of the divide pretty wet, really from border to border. So this is the type of system you really want to see in March for this part of the country, bringing some needed precipitation. So that takes us through late Thursday. Then all of this jumps the divide as we get into Friday. So you can see some really good snow in the Sierra. Look at the snows here. And the snows into the other parts getting into some of the lower elevations. Then by Friday, it jumps the divide. We have a rapidly intensifying storm over the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles by noon Friday. But it doesn't have much gap. This next system is going to push this one out, and it kicks up this way. We call these lows a kicker. This is going to kick this out very quickly. So it doesn't have a chance to bring broad upslope easterly flow. It just doesn't have a chance to do it. But as we showed you yesterday, you're going to get a lot of severe weather out into this part of the country here as that storm advances here later in the week. Travelers will want to watch that. Livestock interest up here, you're going to want to keep a close eye on things as we get into Friday and Saturday as that storm lifts. As you can see, it lifts very quickly from the panhandles all the way up into the Arrowhead of Minnesota in just one day. You can see how quickly it moves. But cold air pours in behind it. You're going to see quite a bit of cold air come in during the day Friday and into the weekend. So temperatures will drop rather substantially from where they are now. This next system is what's going to come in Tuesday and Wednesday. So if we put together the second wave, so the second wave of precipitation is going to be Friday and Saturday. So you can see that right along and west of the divide, there's going to be precipitation. Nothing terribly heavy, but the mountains of Utah and Colorado will do well. The western areas of New Mexico, Arizona could get some needed precipitation. You're going to have enough snow here in central and western areas of Wyoming along Interstate 80, the mountain passes. It's nothing like last week's storm, but overnight Thursday into Friday, and during the day Friday, we're going to see some wintry weather right here. The storm jumps the divide, and here's the gap. Along and east of the divide, there just won't be a lot. There are some showers. There's going to be a little bit, but nothing to write home about. Then the storm gets organized, and this is where it becomes a stronger storm in the northern plains. You can see the severe weather that's going to develop out ahead of it, and you can see the cold air that comes in and pours in behind it. There's the snow, total snow forecast for both systems from basically today through Sunday morning. So you can see the snow up here into the northern plains, and you can see the mountains and west of the divide getting white. Significant snow up into central areas of Canada here as these waves come through, and cold air is overrun by Pacific moisture. So that takes us through the weekend. And another thing, we showed you this yesterday, we're going to have very strong winds with this low in Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, Oklahoma, southeastern Colorado here. There'll be plenty of wind up into the northern plains as that system moves to the north and east. So if you're traveling 40 or I-25 down here, or even Interstate 70, Friday and Saturday into early Sunday, you're going to be needing to be ready for some very heavy winds. Then we look ahead. So this is the next wave. It comes in Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, it's a little bit of a different animal. What it's not going to do is race through really quickly. It's going to come through the Great Basin, then reform over eastern Colorado, taking a much slower path. So we'll see, but this system is going to have a good slug of moisture with it. It may have that opportunity to bring moisture on a bit more of a widespread basis. We'll keep our fingers crossed because we still have these very dry areas just east of the Front Range of Wyoming and Colorado that could really use some moisture. This first system isn't going to do it. The second system at least has a fighting chance. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.